All right, so get this. You know how we're always talking about the heart, right?
Hmm.
Like it's the seat of emotions and all that.
Hmm.
Well, what if I told you it's actually way more than that?
Okay, I'm listening.
What if it's like this energetic powerhouse that's affecting our health, our relationships, maybe even like our consciousness?
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? Today we're going to dive deep into some wild research. It's from the Institute of HeartMath, and it's all about something called the energetic heart.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it is. So buckle up.
Okay, well, I'm ready to have my mind blown. I mean, going beyond just the heart as a pump,
Yeah,
that's a big leap.
it is.
And the HeartMath Institute, I mean, they've been doing some really fascinating work with the heart's energy and all these bioelectromagnetic interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And their research, it's suggesting that this energy, it might be more important than we ever realized, especially when it comes to how we connect with each other.
Right, like how much is it actually doing? So first things first, right, just how powerful are we talking here? I mean, we've all felt our hearts racing, but
Right.
like what's the science behind it?
Okay, well, get this. The electrical part of the heart's field is about 60 times stronger than the electrical activity going on in your brain.
No way.
Yeah. But here's the really crazy part. The heart's magnetic field is a whopping 5,000 times stronger than the brain's.
What?
Yeah, and it can be detected several feet away from your body.
Seriously. So we're like walking around with these super-powered energy fields radiating from our chests.
Pretty much.
That's insane.
It is pretty wild, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what does that even mean for us? Like, it's not like we can see it or feel it.
Right, exactly. It's not like we suddenly have superpowers or anything,
Right.
but it's not just random energy floating around either.
Okay.
Think of it more like a conductor's baton, you know? It's synchronizing every single cell in your body. Like radio waves, but instead of connecting to your favorite station, it's connecting everything inside you. Your brain, your immune system, everything.
So our heart is kind of orchestrating this whole symphony of bodily functions, but with its energy field.
You got it.
I love that.
It's a pretty powerful image, right?
Yeah. But where do our emotions fit into all this?
Ah, that's where it gets even more interesting. HeartMath's research has shown that your emotions directly impact those heart rhythms.
Really?
Yeah, like when you're stressed or anxious, your heart rhythm, it gets all jumbled up.
Makes sense.
But when you're feeling good, positive emotions like love or appreciation, it creates this really smooth, coherent pattern.
So like when we're stressed, it's like a chaotic jazz solo.
Exactly.
And when we're happy, it's more like a beautiful flowing melody.
Perfect analogy. And researchers, they actually use this thing called heart rate variability, or HRV, to measure these tiny changes in your heartbeat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a window into your nervous system and how it reacts to your emotions.
Okay, I'm starting to see how it all connects now. Our emotions, they change our heart rhythms. And those rhythms, they're kind of sending signals to our whole body, like through this powerful energy field, right?
Exactly.
But like, what about connections with other people? Is there actually evidence that, like, our heart's energy can be picked up by someone else?
That's where things start to get really, really interesting.
I bet.
HeartMath researchers, they've been looking into this, and they use a technique that helps them isolate these teeny tiny patterns in brain activity related to the heartbeat.
Wow.
They're basically trying to find traces of one person's heart signal in another person's brain waves.
So they're trying to find your heartbeat in someone else's brain.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds like incredibly difficult.
It is. It's super challenging, but they've actually found some pretty amazing stuff. So in one study, they had pairs of people sitting about 4 feet apart. And get this, when the pairs held hands, they could clearly detect the electrical signal of one person's heartbeat, what's called their ECG, in the other person's brainwaves, which is their EEG.
Wait, just from holding hands?
Yep.
So we're actually transferring heart energy through touch.
It really seems that way.
That's incredible.
It is. And here's the even crazier part. They found this signal transfer even when people wore gloves.
What?
Yeah. So it's not just physical contact through the skin. There's something more going on, some kind of energy exchange happening.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
So we're not just picking up on, like, subtle cues when we touch, but like there's an actual energetic connection.
It seems like it, yeah.
But what about distance? Can we like pick up on each other's heart energy without actually touching?
That's the big question.
Right.
And HeartMath, their research has shown mixed results when it comes to energy transfer over, longer distances.
Okay.
Sometimes they detect it, sometimes they don't. And that's where something called stochastic resonance comes in.
Stochastic resonance. Okay, that sounds a little intimidating.
I know, right?
Could you break that down a little?
Okay, so imagine you're trying to hear a friend whisper, but you're in a really noisy room. Sometimes all that background noise can actually help you pick out their voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same idea with our heart signals. Sometimes all the random noise around us might actually help amplify those signals, making them easier to pick up.
So you're saying the chaos of everyday life might actually help us tune into each other's hearts.
It's a wild thought, isn't it?
It is.
And what's even more interesting is that the person receiving the signals, their own state seems to matter too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So research suggests that if someone's feeling really calm and centered, what HeartMath calls physiological coherence, they seem to be more sensitive to another person's heart signals.
That makes sense. Like when you're stressed, you're so in your own head, you kind of miss those subtle cues from people around you. But when you're calm, you're more, open.
Exactly. It's like our own internal state acts as this filter, letting us tune in to the energetic information coming from others.
So we're all connected on this invisible, energetic level, constantly exchanging information through our hearts.
It's a pretty mind-blowing concept, isn't it?
It is. But what about actual synchronization? Have they found cases where two people's heartbeats actually start, like, beating in sync?
They have, and it's actually quite heartwarming. They call it heart rhythm entrainment, and it seems to happen more often between people who are close, especially when they're sleeping.
So when we're, like, cuddling up next to someone we love, our hearts might actually start beating together.
Ah, yeah. Isn't that sweet?
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Do they have any specific examples of this?
Yeah, there's this really touching story from their research about a boy and his dog. They monitored their heart rhythms, and they found that when the boy focused on feeling love for his dog, their heart rhythms actually became more in sync and more coherent.
Oh, that's just too cute. It makes me think of all the times I've felt this deep connection with my own pets, Like we understand each other without even needing words.
I know exactly what you mean. It really highlights how strong these energetic connections can be, even between different species. And that kind of brings us to another level of this whole energetic heart idea, the impact this field has on individual cells.
Wait, we're going even deeper.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already reeling from the idea of heart-to-heart communication.
Well, get ready, because this is where the potential for health and healing gets really exciting. HeartMath researchers have been doing experiments where they expose cells to simulated heart fields.
Okay.
And the results are pretty amazing.
All right, I'm all ears. What kind of effects are we talking about?
Well, they found that when they exposed healthy cells to this simulated heart field, the cells actually grew faster. But here's the crazy part. When they exposed tumor cells to the same field, their growth was inhibited.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
So, like, the heart's energy could actually help healthy cells thrive and slow down the growth of cancerous cells.
It's a really promising area of research.
That's huge.
Yeah. And it all comes back to that idea of coherence we were talking about.
Right.
These experiments, they suggest that a coherent heart field, the kind you create when you're feeling positive emotions, it might actually have the power to boost your cell's function and maybe even help your body heal.
This is completely changing how I think about the heart. It's not just a pump, it's like an energetic maestro.
It is, isn't it?
It's like shaping not only our body, but our emotions, even our connections with other people.
It really is.
This deep dive has been incredible so far. I can't wait to see what else we uncover.
Me too. It really makes you wonder, like, how can these tiny energy fields have such a big impact on our cells?
Right. Honestly, that's exactly what I was thinking. It almost seems too good to be true. Like, wouldn't those signals just get lost? With all the other electrical activity in our bodies and everything?
Yeah, that's where traditional physics, it might not be telling the whole story.
Okay.
For a long time, scientists, they thought that these weak signals, they wouldn't really do much because of all the noise in our bodies. But they were thinking of our bodies like simple machines, approaching it all from a very linear perspective.
Right. But we're so much more complex than that.
Exactly.
It's like we're a whole ecosystem,
Yeah.
all these systems interconnected, not just a bunch of parts working on their own.
Exactly. And that's why we need to look at this from a nonlinear perspective. Our bodies, they're dynamic, constantly changing, so they can respond to those subtle signals in ways that, we can't always predict with, like simple models.
Okay, I'm following you.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work? Like, how are these weak signals getting amplified enough to actually make a difference?
So one theory is that our cells are like little antennas. They
Antennas.
can pick up and amplify these weak fluctuating signals. It's like they have a built-in filter, that helps them focus on the heart's rhythm. And then there's this other really interesting concept. It's called stochastic resonance, which we talked about earlier with, heart-to-heart communication.
Right.
Right.
You were comparing it to trying to hear a friend whisper in a really loud room.
Exactly.
So, like, is that happening inside our cells too?
It very well could be. Remember how we said that sometimes that background noise can actually make a weak signal easier to hear? Well, some scientists think that the random activity within our cells might actually be helping to boost those heart signals, making them strong enough to actually have an effect.
Whoa, so it's like our cells are using the chaos inside them to tune into the heart's rhythm.
Pretty amazing, right?
It is, it is. But why is coherence so important? Like, why does that smooth, harmonious heart rhythm seem to have such a big impact?
Well, think of it like trying to get a group of people to dance together.
Okay.
If the music is clear and steady, it's much easier for everyone to move in sync, right?
Yeah.
A coherent heart rhythm, it's like that steady beat. It helps bring all the dancers in our body into harmony.
I love that. So a coherent heart rhythm is like the perfect beat that gets all our cells grooving together.
Exactly. And when our cells are all vibing together, everything in our body just works better.
Makes sense.
Our systems become more efficient, and that leads to all sorts of positive effects on our health and well-being.
This is really starting to paint a whole different picture of the heart. It's not just this like mechanical pump. It's like an energetic conductor, keeping our body in sync, influencing our emotions, and even connecting us to others.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
It is.
And that's why this research has, such huge implications for how we think about health and healing.
Mm.
If we can learn to, consciously create a more coherent heart rhythm, we might be able to tap into our body's natural ability to heal and maybe even influence how our cells behave.
This is seriously revolutionary.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? How can we, create this magical coherence on purpose?
That's where the HeartMath Institute's work gets really practical.
Okay.
They've developed some techniques that can help people learn to create and maintain that state of physiological coherence. And one of the key ingredients is cultivating positive emotions.
So it's not just about, relaxation or deep breathing.
It's more than that.
It's about intentionally shifting our emotional state to something more positive.
You got it. Remember how we were talking about how positive emotions create those smooth, harmonious heart rhythms?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like intentionally focusing on feelings like appreciation, gratitude, or love can help shift us into that more coherent state.
So we can actually use our minds to change the music our heart is playing. And that changes, the whole dance floor of our being.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
I love that analogy. Are there any specific techniques they use to help people do this?
Yeah, they have this technique called the heart lock-in.
Heart lock-in.
Yeah, and it involves bringing your attention to your heart area, breathing a bit slower and deeper, and then focusing on a genuine feeling of appreciation or care.
That sounds pretty simple, but does it really work?
The research suggests it does. They found that practicing this technique can actually help people sustain those periods of physiological coherence, which can then lead to all sorts of benefits like less stress, a stronger immune system, even clearer thinking.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
We actually have this incredible power within us to influence our own well-being. And it all starts with the heart.
It really is remarkable, isn't it?
It is.
And it has huge implications for, all kinds of fields, from medicine to education to business. Imagine a world where we teach people to harness the power of their hearts, to improve their health, their relationships, their performance in all areas of life.
It's a beautiful vision, isn't it?
It is.
A world where we're all, more in tune with our hearts, more connected to each other, and, more resilient when things get tough.
And it all starts with understanding the incredible power of that energetic heart.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening for me. I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for the heart and, everything it does.
And we're not finished yet. There's still so much more to explore.
Okay, so tell me more about this heart lock-in technique. It sounds almost too simple, can it really be that effective?
Well, it might seem simple on the surface, but there's a real art to it. It's not just about thinking happy thoughts,
Right.
It's about tapping into this genuine feeling of appreciation or care, and that can take some practice, especially if you're, used to living in your head all the time.
Right. It's about shifting from the mind to the heart. But what about people who are dealing with, like, tougher emotions, like grief or trauma? Can this still help them?
Absolutely. In fact, HeartMath's research actually shows that these techniques can be especially helpful for people who are, going through those difficult times. It's not about ignoring those feelings, though.
Right.
It's more about learning to navigate them in a healthier way.
So instead of getting, like, swept away by that wave of sadness or anger,
Yeah.
we can kind of learn to ride those waves with a little more strength.
Exactly. By shifting into that more coherent state, you're creating a buffer against the negative effects of stress, which can be really helpful for both your mind and body.
This is really powerful stuff. It's not just about feeling better in the moment. It's about, like, learning how to handle all of life's ups and downs with more resilience.
And the best part is these tools are available to everyone.
Yeah.
No matter who you are or what you're going through, all it takes is that willingness to, explore the power of your own heart and its connection to your well-being.
This whole deep dive has been such an eye-opener, honestly. I'm definitely going to be checking out some of these heart math techniques. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap things up?
I think the biggest takeaway here is just remembering that the heart is so much more than we give it credit for.
I agree.
It's this energy center. It plays such a vital role in our emotions, our health, and even how we connect with each other. And the more we learn about this energetic heart, the more we can really unlock its incredible potential.
I couldn't agree more. This has been truly a fascinating journey into the world of the energetic heart. It's like I have a whole new understanding of what it means to be human.
And that's what makes this research so exciting. It's not just about accumulating knowledge. It's about changing how we see ourselves and our place in, the universe.
So true. Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today, but this conversation has definitely inspired me to keep exploring.
Yeah, keep asking questions, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep listening to your heart.
That's great advice. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. And for everyone listening, until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Farewell, fellow explorers.